Good day, viewers of Embassy Direct, especially to the foreign diplomatic and expatriate communities and the members of our network. We are here today delivering, as always, the good news. In this segment, we engage with different role players of our society who will share their life experiences and how, through their actions, they are making a difference within their community. Our guest today is Mr. Marc Buhrer. Hope I pronounced that right. Mr. Buhrer is involved in such initiatives as Benchmarc, Dare to Share, and Game for Humanity. Hello, Marc.
Good afternoon, Rodrigo. Thank you for having me.
Great. No, it's a pleasure. Just tell me, did I pronounce your surname right? Buhrer.
That's sufficient. It gets pronounced in many different manners. You're one of the closest.
Okay, I feel happy with that. Let's go to the questions. Kindly describe your organizations and the role that you're playing within them.
So I'll give you a small backstory. My organization is called Dare to Share. It's a non-profit organization that we started in South Africa, in Cape Town in 2012 on my 31st birthday. So I decided on my 31st birthday, I wanted to do something different and I wanted to do something for the community. So I decided to have my birthday party at a shelter in Cape Town called the Haven Night Shelter, where I requested my friends to come and join me. And instead of giving me gifts, to bring ingredients to cook for the people of the shelter. We cooked for 220 people. It was one of the most memorable birthday parties of my life. It was the most meaningful birthday party. And that was what got us on track for starting Dare to Share, which was an initiative, an idea at first. And thereafter, Dare to Share grew from strength to strength. And we have quite an elaborate database of individuals and families and organizations that we look after. But it all began with just changing my mind and wanting to do something for someone else rather than continually doing something for myself from a personal gratification. And that's how Dare to Share started. We now look after 32 registered organizations and charities, from schools, old age homes, centers for abused women and children, children's hospitals, orphanages, as well as looking after 72 families in the Western Cape with all their food, toiletries, and school clothing and school books for their children. So it was an incredible start in 2012, so 9 years old.
Well, we were told by a good friend of yours that really admires you, Ron Mackenzie, owner of our Embassy Direct. He was telling us about an anecdote about yourself, that you went homeless for a week. You want to share about that?
Yeah, I'd love to chat about that. So I've always been one to find solutions for humanity. And I couldn't find a way in which I would understand the life of a homeless person unless I was homeless myself. So I grew my beard for 6 months. I tried my best to look as less fortunate as possible. I left home on Monday morning with nothing other than a notepad and a pen. And I lived on the streets of Cape Town with the homeless people to understand how difficult their situation and environment really is. So I begged for money. I helped park cars. I slept under bridges. I slept in construction sites. I did whatever I had to do to survive. And when I finished that 7 days and 7 nights, I lost 12 kilograms in 7 days. I walked 104 kilometers. And it changed my mindset to how I can improve the lives of those that are less fortunate than myself. And again, how to be more grateful for what I have. And it just changed my complete outlook on life. But it was certainly a memorable experience.
Well, allow me to congratulate you. I wish more people like yourself and all the viewers of this interview could understand, that's the real way of giving back. Sometimes we think it's about giving money or giving a material thing. People want to be listened. People want an opportunity. They want to feel humans. And we don't understand that. Look, the day that we get to understand that, there will be less wars, there will be less conflicts, and we will be able to live in peace among each other.
That's the plan. I think before living on the streets, I was always that person who I would give some money at a robot and immediately I'd feel better about myself because I think I've done something good. So the personal gratification, again, is a very selfish mindset. We feel like we've done something good, but we have no idea the position of the person who is receiving that money. It is absolutely the worst and the most unconstructive manner in which to help someone is by sustainably allowing the community to continuously live on the streets. By giving someone money, we're actually condoning their lifestyle by saying, here's some more money, stay on the street for longer. Here's some more money, go do whatever you do in terms of addiction. Addiction is a huge problem on the streets. You live a life with no responsibility. There's no curfew. There's no one telling you what to do. There's no rules. You make up your own rules. So the family of the people living on the streets together, they do anything for each other. It's about trying to reinstill a mindset of responsibility to those on the streets, giving them opportunity, giving them value, and encouraging them to take their life into a more responsible manner and try reintroduce them back into society through job creation, skills development. It is an incredibly difficult problem to solve, because when you live on the streets, over 90% of people that I met with on the streets and lived with were addicted to either alcohol or drugs. It's a very difficult mindset to change for someone that has no responsibility and that is continuously being giving handouts from the public, to change their mind to now have to work for something. But I think there are solutions. I believe that we will hopefully experience those solutions in our lifetime, but it is not an easy problem to fix.
Totally agree with you. Marc, South Africa has had a challenging 18 months. How are your organizations making a positive difference? And please mention how others can get involved and support your efforts.
Yeah, I think the world in general, I think, has gone through a traumatic previous 18 months. I think South Africa has gone through a lot itself. The gap between rich and poor is becoming more elaborate. The job sustainability in South Africa is volatile. There is a challenging time for everyone in the world, but South Africa, I think, is a little more exaggerated. We are in the moment, due to the crisis brought upon us by coronavirus and COVID-19, are all fighting a very challenging time. I think it's those that have the opportunity to uplift others without the objective of being self-wealth or creating their own personal wealth, but putting humanity first for a change, will also change the mindset of those that you're assisting. We've been fortunate enough, we've had some funding that has poured through to help us sustain the assistance we offer families. Many families that we've assisted have also once again lost whatever income that they've had. So we are purely reliant on corporate and private donations, which we are fortunate enough to offer what is known in South Africa as an 18A tax certificate, which allows people to claim their donation tax back. But everyone's going through a challenging time. Some of the corporates that we relied heavily on for donations are no longer in business. That's just through no fault of anyone else's. It's just the current marketplace that we're in at the moment. So look, we don't expect anything in terms of monetary donations. What we a lot of the time prefer for people to spend time with the recipients of that, of whatever donations are going, to spend time and help us cook food, help us deliver food, help us go to schools and speak to the children in the schools and tell them that everything's going to be okay. They're not alone. We do a lot of visits with the old age homes, and the elderly are, again, some of the forgotten folk in our world. Some of them have not had visitors for 5 years. It's a depressing state, and I'd hate to think that when I reach 75 or 80 years old, I won't have any families to come visit me. So just something like that, going and we go read books to the elderly, we paint the ladies' nails, we give them facials, we make them feel important. We're always trying to find solutions, but again, we do what we can. We're continuing to help families at the moment as much as possible with basic food needs. And it's difficult to have human interaction at the moment with the risk of the contagious COVID-19 virus. So it's endlessly challenging, but we strive to find solutions on a daily basis.
The problem is people believe that that's a job of the government, that the government must take care of it. I think we have a misunderstanding on that. We don't need to be government to help. We need to have the will to help.
Yes.
So attacking government sometimes doesn't make sense. Governments are simply, obviously, the bad governments are bad managers, but they just regulate. for us, the private sector, the professionals, we must give back to our community. And honestly speaking, why should even we get a tax rebate for doing kindness? Somehow, and forgive me, that's a hypocrisy.
It's hypocrisy, but it comes at the same time with it's almost like an unnecessary need to incentivize people to do good, because the lack of positive influence at the moment is overwhelming. It's very difficult to find people who are willing to wake up in the morning and help someone else before they help themselves. I think the human nature and general greed is astounding at the moment, with people wanting to rather protect what they have instead of being willing to share what they have. I think the mindset that we got to instill in our youth is that charity, yes, it begins at home, but it also begins with waking up in the morning with the intention of helping another human being. So I think humanity has almost lost a bit of sensitivity when it comes to assisting others. And I think helping people and sharing is cool. I mean, I have a 1.5-year-old son, and my primary intention is to teach him that giving is cool. Like, let's make helping people cool again. There's nothing, it shouldn't be frowned upon, and it should be one of our primary intentions as human beings.
Great. So, charity or empowerment, which one is your NGO's drive and why?
I'd say empowerment is my passion. I believe that once you empower someone to become a better person themselves, they can in turn become charitable in whichever means they see fit. Empowerment, I believe, it has to be done in a sustainable manner. It's not a once-off project that you try and instill values into someone and help them lift their own moral being. I think it's a continuous effort. It's a continuous project. And once you can empower someone, they are limitless. Whatever they can achieve is going to be up to them. But once they can see the positive aspects and the positive influence they have on other human beings, I think that is the most powerful aspect that you can focus on as a charitable organization. So empowerment would be my answer.
How can excellent leadership in South Africa improve the country's perception globally? And how do you foresee this helping citizens?
Again, I think we've got to see further than our personal greed in terms of what has become in my short space on Earth, as I'm 40 years old. I've seen over the time how people are driven by immediate gratification and personal success overnight. I think when we can instill the nature that help humanity first before we can help ourselves, the success thereafter will come naturally. So let's look at providing national, continental, and global solutions to things that are occurring and have occurred for decades. Like, for example, if I may touch on, it was a passion of mine during COVID to help access or give access to Africa with the most cost-effective solutions in the sanitary space. Like, why doesn't every African person have access to a hand sanitizer or to surface disinfection? Why is it reliant on government to distribute it? Why is it reliant on NPOs and NGOs to distribute it to lower LSM audiences and communities? So I went out on a mission to create the most affordable hand sanitizer ever created. And I believe we've come very close. Well, a product of mine called iCleanse has now distributed into Africa a sanitizer which will cost less than $1 for a liter. So this is something which is unheard of, but I believe just something that I'm putting the community first. And yes, it will be a successful business, but I want to solve a solution that's bigger than my own personal greed or personal necessity to be successful. Let's provide solutions for a global audience and for our fellow human beings. And let's not focus on ourselves as the priority. And I think with that, we'll change the mindset of how people see us, as businessmen, as South Africans, as entrepreneurs. Just the mindset, I think, has to change.
Could you note some of the key challenges your organization faces?
Some of the key challenges we face at the moment, obviously, with COVID being around, is the lack of interaction we can have with our beneficiaries. We are limited to the amount of interaction we can have with orphanages, with the kids that don't have parents. So we used to see them on a weekly basis and interact with them, give them hope directly by spending time with them. We aren't able to go into the communities that require our assistance directly. And it is quite a we're able to work through disaster management and various ward councillors in our city. But the challenge is the lack of direct contact we have with our recipients and with our beneficiaries, and also just the limitation on funding is a problem. We still have to purchase fruit, we have to purchase vegetables, we have to purchase maize. And with the current economic climate, it's not as viable as it is at the moment, as it has been prior to COVID. So we are fortunate enough to be able to dip into our personal funds, which who knows how sustainable that will be for a longer term. But the passion never dies. I mean, where there's a problem, it's our way to find a solution.
What role do you see foreign countries playing within South Africa's successful future?
I see the same role that foreign countries play in South Africa's future. South Africa plays in the foreign country's future. I think we've got to show a means of trust. We've got to show a means of transparency. We've got to show a means of responsibility. And I think we've got to prove to ourselves as South Africans first, where we can responsibly be allocating whatever assistance would come in. If it's financial, let's focus on where we would financially dedicate our funds to locally. And show and just prove to the world that it's not mismanaged, misused, misrepresented, or blatantly, for the lack of a better word, looted. So I think we have to prove to ourselves first before we can expect anyone else to be assisting us.
What do you believe are South Africa's main challenges? And could you touch some of the solutions you would like to see implemented?
I would love to see implementation from a grassroots level. So I'd like to see in our school or in education system, I'd like to see emphasis being put on not necessarily the generic and old school subject matter, but teaching the children more general life skills. I'd like to see entrepreneurship be taught in schools. I'd like to see life skills be a highlight in teaching kids how they can become part of a solution. I know that you get your generic subjects, you got your geography, history, biology, in maths, you got trigonometry and algebra and whatever else. But why not teach kids how to be successful entrepreneurs? There's so much opportunity due to the lack of what is transpiring in our system as a whole. There's so many problems that require solutions, but we've got to teach and encourage children that no matter which path they take, they can be part of a bigger solution. So encouragement to from a young age and teaching children, as again, entrepreneurial skills, I think that's invaluable.
Have you got hope for South Africa's future? And if so, what makes you believe in South Africa's future? How can this translate into every corner of the country?
I've got absolute hope in South Africa's future. I think South Africans in general, we've come from a very colorful past, and we've gone through a lot as a country. We've got incredible challenges on our doorstep, but somehow we always strive to see them through. I believe that we've got such also a cosmopolitan country, so many different races, religions, like the gender is no longer an issue, I believe. I think that people are starting to have equal opportunities. I'd like to think so. And I believe that whatever challenges we faced in the past and are currently facing, South Africans are resilient enough to find a way and means around what our current challenges are. And I think that it's great that we often highlighted internationally about what we've achieved as a country. I'd just love to see South Africa in the next decade or 2 decades come to fruition and be, again, one of the primary earners in African GDP, like the figures given in Africa, and show that we are capable of still generating incredible wealth as a country. I believe that our reputation can be rectified. I believe that under the correct leadership, we can set a standard not only for Africa, but globally. And I think this is also still a land of opportunity. If I didn't think so, I wouldn't be living here. I'm Swiss. I'm a Swiss national. I have a Swiss passport, but I don't intend leaving South Africa until I've had an even more positive impact on the country and those people around me.
We'd love to feature your positive initiatives on our website, and trust you'd be happy for us to spread the word.
I would love that, and I would appreciate it. I think any good news and positive news to change the mindsets of people who are stuck in maybe not such a positive attitude, I'm all for. I'd love to do that.
Marc, thank you so much to share all your experiences, incredible experiences. Keep it up, and from our side, you can count with our support at any time. I personally believe in the kind of initiatives that you are carrying out, so you can count me on a personal basis also on your team.
Thank you, Rodrigo. I appreciate your time and Embassy Direct, and I love what you're doing by spreading the nature of positive and good news and impacting those lives in an incredible manner. So thank you too.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.